Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. So, I have gotten a viewer question that I thought that I would do a whole video on today. So, the question was, when I started out as a new coder, was I nervous about starting in a clinic that I had no previous experience in? And my answer exists on two separate levels, okay? So, the first is that whenever you start a new job, that is nerve-wracking because you don't know the people that you're working with yet, and trying to get used to a new place, new surroundings, things like that. That's always nerve-wracking. That's where, whenever I start a new job, that's where my fear comes in. The second part is I wasn't really worried about not being able to know how to code because you pass the test, okay? So you have basic knowledge, and as long as you go in with basic knowledge, you should be good to start. So that's where I didn't really kind of worry about that, like performance anxiety, basically, when it comes to coding. I didn't really go through that. And even now, when I get put in a new clinic, which happened to me last April, April last year, I was assigned to a new clinic because the clinic needed help, and I had never previously worked in that kind of clinic before, which was a pulmonary clinic. Pulmonary and rheumatology I started at that time, and I had never previously worked with those particular clinics before. But of course I already knew like about the disease process with asthma and COPD and things like that, and there's always coding clinics that I looked at. So I took comfort in that. So basically I have my basic knowledge, and I know what a note should look like in order to get credit for whatever it is that I'm looking for, either procedure wise or E&M levels, things like that. So even now, I don't really get nervous anymore about starting a new clinic, not really knowing how to code it. I always kind of embrace things and jump in with both feet. That's just me. So it all depends on the attitude that you have. So my advice to new coders is don't be afraid. If you've passed your certification exam and you are newly certified, then that's half the battle, okay? So you've already won on one front. You have your credential. And then when you get a job, that's the second win. So basically, coding in a new facility or a new clinic shouldn't really scare you. It should be more of just, hey, I'm new and I hate being new. Everybody hates being new. Anytime you start a new job, I don't like being the new person either. But as far as starting a new clinic, that's really never been a worry for me, because even like in the beginning, and I told the viewer this in an email, I said that I had started out for an oncology practice. Was my first job as a medical coder, and oncology is not. Oncology gets very, very complex, and it's up there. So, that was my first job. So, and then my second job was doing inpatient professional service rounds, which, if you're familiar with it, it is quite complex because the rules are different. Some people call it that. Some people call it outpatient something. There's another name. Oh, I hate when I do that. But basically, it is when a provider is going to a inpatient ward and rounding on patients. So basically, it's inpatient, but it's outpatient, because these are typically specialties that go round on these inpatients. So it's things like that. So there was different rules, and fortunately for me, I had a really great teacher. I have admired her for many years, and I've known her for a good 12 years now. So she was my really first hands-on supervisor, because the first job I had, I didn't really have a hands-on supervisor. So it was the second job that I had a really good hands-on supervisor. She was an excellent coach. She is still a very close friend to this day. I consider her a very, very close friend. And she taught me a lot. And so when she asked me, when I first got to my second job, I was starting and I had literally moved to a new city and I didn't know anybody. All I knew was I had a job. I had a job and I was basically willing to work whatever clinic that they needed me in. And so she said, well, can you do inpatient professional service rounds? I said, I have no idea what that is, but I will do it. Just tell me how, or tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. So she gave me the guidelines, and so I just read the guidelines, because a lot of starting in a new clinic is reading your guidelines or reading that section of the book, the diagnosis book or the procedure book. So that's also something that can help you too. That was something that helped me. So having that experience really did help. And that's kind of how I got through that. And your nerves kind of fall away after a while, because it's like, oh, you know, I can do this. I know how to diagnosis code. I know how to procedure code. I know what it should look like. So I know what I'm looking for. So basically, if you have those kind of foundation knowledge, you should be fine. So it is all about your attitude and, you know, being willing to kind of jump into a new specialty. Now, there are some specialties that I'd really rather not do. And there's some specialties that I have not done, and it's okay. Fortunately for me, I don't have to do that. I'm needed in other places. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, but it was really nice to get a viewer email. And so I was going through emails and I didn't see it at the time, and I feel so bad because it was sent to me a few months ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. So I did write to the viewer and I explained, you know, I literally didn't see it. I get all these alerts and it just kind of got pushed to the bottom. So I answered her and I said, you know, maybe there's somebody else out there that's just now starting and thinking, you know, they're really nervous. So don't be nervous. You passed your test. You got the job. So you have won so many things on so many fronts, more than you think. So it's just about looking and researching. And I always talk about research all the time. I always talk about reading and reading and reading. And I know I kind of sound like a broken record if you've watched my other videos, but I say this because the more you read, the more you're going to know about the disease process or even the procedures themselves. And as I've talked about in my previous videos, the coding companion for whatever specialty that you are coding for really does help. I've looked at that podiatry book forwards and backwards, and it has really helped me. So there's so much valuable information in those books. It's very handy to have those books. And I never knew that those books actually existed until I had gone to my first convention in 2014. Yes, that was when I really started seeing, like, wow, they have like all of these different books, because you see like in bookstores that they have the basic ICD-10 book, or at the time it was ICD-9. Yes, I'm dating myself. But when you're in the industry for over a decade, you can do that. So anyway, at the time it was ICD-9, and that was all I knew was ICD-9. So now it's ICD-10, and there was a lot of people when ICD-10 came out a few years ago. They were not really excited about it because they thought it was so much more to learn. The transition from ICD-9 to ICD-10 was fairly seamless. I was fortunate enough to get a lot of good training at the time, and that also does help. And I always go back to that. The better trained you are in anything, the better off you'll be. And it is all about those details. So don't worry, my friends. If you are just starting out, everybody just started out. Remember, search engines are your friend and books are your friend. So, and ask lots of questions. The more communication you have, either with your coworkers or maybe with a supervisor or a sponsor that you have, the better off that you'll be. And of course, you can always submit a question here to Medical Coding with Bleu, and I'll be happy to assist in any way that I can. So that is my video for today. But I did want to talk about the 91st annual AHIMA, I want to make sure I said this right, Convention and Exhibit, because I think they changed the name. So anyway, I'm excited because it starts on September 14th and runs through the 18th. So if you've ever been to a convention, you know that it starts like Saturday. They have like the weekend package where it's Saturday and Sunday, and they have all kinds of seminars during the day. But the official kickoff is on Sunday. They usually have like the welcoming ceremony on Sundays. So there's a different fee for if you want to do like the weekend package as well. I have said this time and time again, going to conventions is totally worth it. Now, besides all the fun stuff like the parties and the socializing and going to this fabulous place wherever you're going, of course this year is going to be in Chicago. I'm excited. I'm excited for some Chicago pizza. I'm so excited. Anyway, aside from all of that, you really do have a chance to look at the catalog when registration does open, because I don't think registration is quite open yet. I think it's just all the information. I could be wrong. Check the website, AHIMA, that's AHIMA.org, and you'll be able to look the convention information up. But when you get to looking at the catalog for all of the available classes that they have during the days of convention, it is a lot of fun. And it's almost like, oh, I really want to go to this class, and oh, I really want to go to this class. So you kind of have to like pick and choose which ones you want to go to and which ones you think would benefit you most or benefit your facility most. I always pay for myself to go every year, which is fine. I'm not high up enough on the food chain to get my facility to pay for me, so I just pay for myself, and it's fine, because to me, even though I'm paying for myself to go, it's an investment in myself, and being as educated as I can when it comes to medical coding is far more important to me than the amount of money that I have to spend to get it. So you always want to look for deals. Anytime you're either booking your hotel or booking your airline or even just getting around the city, you want to make sure that if you are going to convention this year, that you look for the best deals and get your tickets as early as you can when it comes to like flights and hotels and stuff, because that's when you're going to get the best deals. I am going to be ordering a catalog about Chicago here pretty soon, so that way I can just check out everything, and if there's anything that I want to do, I'll be sure to do it while I'm there. I did go to Navy Pier last time I was there, and that was a lot of fun. I had a freaking blast the last time I went, so I intend to have a good time again. So that is my video for today. Today was another long day, but we are halfway through the week, so I am very glad about that. It was more education with my providers today, and I like doing that. That's like the best part of my day, is when I get to do like coding tip of the week, which I sent out today. And it was very straightforward. It was obesity versus morbid obesity. What is the difference between the two as far as like the BMI? I had read an article and I talked about it in the email, and because I work with the bone guys, so podiatry and orthopedics, and that's something that's very important. Obesity is impactful in almost any clinic, but in those it really does impact, because you're looking at joints and things like that. So but yeah, that's it. So I will wrap this video up because it is getting kind of long. I think this is one of the longest ones I've done. That's what happens when you get excited about talking about medical coding. So anyway, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I will probably do a question and answer video like this. And you never know if your question is the same question that somebody else has. And what is that saying? That, oh shoot, how did it go? That the only bad question is the question that's not asked? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great evening. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, please, and share. And I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.